There, ladies and gentlemen, and with my head, forgot knowledge. Okay, and today we're discussing UK inflation hits double-digit highest since 1982, but we're discussing it with a twist. Okay, so we're gonna link it to the murder rate, well, not the murder rate, the suicide rate that there was in the years since then, not 1982. The longest I can go back was 1984, I think. And then the problem that I have is that it takes a country 5 to 10 years to recover from suicide rates, um, from the peak of suicide rates that you have when you have a recession like this, which is really bad. It's always good for the feminists because it's mainly white males that commit suicide successfully. I think it's around about 75% of the successful suicide rates is male white males. And yeah, so let's get into this. UK inflation hits double digits, highest since 1982. Britain's rate of inflation has surged to a fresh 40-year high, heaping yet more pain on cash-strapped households as the cost of living crisis deepens. The Consumer Price Index (CPI) rose by 10.1% in the 12 months of July, up from 9.2% in June and remaining at the highest level since February 1982. The Office of National Statistics (ONS) said. Let me just interact with this and see if I can get. Okay, you guys won't see the rest of the document. I'll just read it. Nah, there's no reason to read it further. They don't say anything much. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna map it back to the statistics we have on from 19 it's from 1981 I could get actually, and that is the statistics. Males saw a statistical significantly lower suicide rate in 2020 than in 2019, but we're not actually talking about that now. We're talking about this little bit over here. So if we look at, yeah, the peak, because we don't really care about that because that's male and female. So I think males is at the top, females, but I don't really care about that. I care about the volume of people that committed suicide. Um, what is persons anyway? Male, female persons. I don't get that one, but anyway, here you go, and we going and we saying that ASMRs per 100,000 population. So 20 people out of 100,000 people kill themselves because of this recession. Okay. And this then when started going down when around about a year, which is 10 years past. 10 years past. And then it had a spike over here in 1996 when there was the other big recession, but it wasn't as bad as here. So, why do males commit suicide more often than females when it comes to finances and so on? There's a doctor, a female, obviously a feminist doctor, who wrote an article that statistically the on the statistics based on the American psychiatric basically the hospitals, the morgues, the doctors, the or whatever. It was actual statistics, not a okay, we take a sample set of 5,000 or 1,000 and we calculate it according to that. This was real data. It was taken from real hospitals, real doctors, and so on. And they found that 80% of males that commit suicide have no antidepressant or any anxiety medication within their system. So they are less likely to look for help. That's the first thing. Okay. Second thing is, um, she wrote in this article that um, men are just white men are just killing themselves because they don't have really need to get my own space to make my videos. I have people in and out here the whole time, and that's why I make so little videos. Well, one of the reasons I make so little videos. Let's get back to this woman that wrote this article. She's got a doctorate, obviously, probably in social studies or something like that. I don't know. Or political science, I'm not sure. I'm not picking on you guys, but some of you actually do a good job. I actually follow one person on Twitter who says rational things that studied socialism. But anyway, and to be dead honest, some people might not like what I have to say at the moment, but the way the world is heading, then fuck, maybe socialism is the way to go. At least then we'll each have an house. We will have an income, and even if it's from the government, and yeah, we'll be able to look after our families. Because if I drive around in South Africa and I stop at the robots, the beggars at the robots, are not the black guys anymore, it's not the colored people anymore, it's white people standing there begging. So, and that is scary because we are a minority group of 8% inside, 8 or 30, I can't remember. Somewhere around, let's say around about 10% minority in South Africa. And at the moment, the majority of the people that I see begging, unless white people just got lazy in Cape Town or in South Africa, which I don't think is the case. I think it's people that worked in the mines and the mines closed down and they moved up here. So, but yeah, who knows? Maybe I'll stop one day and chat to one of these guys. But, you know, They do not look the neatest, and scared you're gonna catch some of the some of the illnesses they have. And I used to think to myself, what broke a person to the point that he would sit there along the side of the road, um, and just give up and just beg for it. And then I found out these guys make, well, let me convert it. It's about $100, between $100 and $150 a day on a Saturday, when it's busy, that they make, from begging on the street. So if you take into calculation the minimum wage in South Africa is something like, I think, 6,000 or 4,000 rand, going standing begging 4 times a week is probably going to make you more money than what you get a permanent job for a month. But anyway, let's get back to what was I busy with? Yes, I need to get my own digs. I need to really need to find a space that's my own where I can do these videos. UK inflation, it's double digits. Britain's rate of inflation has surged to fresh 40-year high, heaping yet more pain on cash-strapped households as the cost of living crisis deepens. The Consumer Prices Index rose to 10.1% in the 12-month to July, up from 9.4 in June and remaining at the highest level since February 1982. The Office of National Statistics, DNS, or ONS, said. So, Bloomberg, not Bloomberg News, the Bloomberg guy, um, who ran against Trump, made an interesting comment. He said that if you go and you connect these regional governors and whatever on a KPI, so everybody in the government gets connected to a KPI or PA or review or whatever. So one of their tasks is to keep inflation in place. Okay? And if it goes over that, you lose your job. If you go under that, you get a raise. He says you'll clean out the whole of the government within 30 days. So that's sort of paraphrasing what he said. It's not really what he said, but it's basically what it boiled down to. He basically indicated that you'll get rid of all the useless people and you'll get competent people to run the country. So yeah. Now the UK's had it tough. They've had Brexit, that everybody kicking back on Brexit, that the European Union, that their own country standing up against them, treating them like shit. I mean, and they walk out of Brexit and they're okay. They're okay. They walked out of there okay. America starts scratching again, yeah, in places where they shouldn't be, like the Ukraine, and all of a sudden the UK is now in trouble. Germany's in trouble. France is in trouble. So I really do feel that countries should actually become nationalist and self-regulated and also self-sustainable. Um, Having strategic partnerships is great, but having to import all of your products from one or two countries is just fucking stupid. I mean, let's look at grain. We used to be a grain net exporter. Now we import it from India because India is where all the grain gets dumped from Russia and Ukraine and then distributed from there into Africa. So, and we, for the first time, I think about 12 years ago, for the first time in our lives, South Africa had to import grain. And then guess what? The grain got here and it was rotten. So we paid for something that was rotten. So they had to import again and just make sure that it wasn't rotten first. So it's quite interesting that people would think the way that they think. But that's the globalist mindset that we have at the moment, and nationalist mindset is racist. Um, and even though included in that nationalist group that you're thinking about is white people, black people, people of colored people. Well, I'm not well. YouTube don't like that word, even though colored people call themselves colored people in South Africa. Indian people, Chinese people, everybody's included in that because they are South Africans, or they from the UK, and they Ukrainians. What do you call people from the UK? Pretty British. So I know it's difficult in some areas that you can't grow stuff, but I mean, geez, not having a backup plan and taking on the guy that this was literally shitting on your own doorstep by Germany and France. This was literally shitting on your own doorstep, which all of our grandmothers and grandfathers warned us about and said, I don't know if your guys, I don't know if you guys had that, but my grandfather and grandmother kept on telling us never shit on your own doorstep. And it just makes sense. It's logical, might not be for the socialists, might not be logical. Um, I don't know how they think. I've been trying to figure out how they think, but I'm thinking I'm spending too much time trying to understand how they think because there's no rationale behind what they say, and all they keep on reverting back to is racist, um, homophobe, whatever. As soon as you start want to talk about something, yeah, that they have nothing to say about. So that's kind of funny. And dude, it's gonna be a rough couple of years coming. Now, Twitter's got a nice feature built in now since Elon Musk kicked their asses, where you can have a group chat. Now, I've already gone and searched for mental health groups and those kinds of things on there. So there are groups on there that you can discuss. I will start a group as well, and then doesn't need to be. Look, most important thing is having the interactions and talking about stuff. Um, it's not talking about the depressing stuff. It's just having that connection with people, and that sort of saved my life when the revered Reverend Simon Sideways had a Discord channel, and they were just talking crap, and the guy was drinking a beer, and the other guy was in the truck driving home and shouting at people, and it was just a relief from the day-to-day shit that that we sit with, and I can really recommend joining one of these groups because they're funny, they they are uplifting, they're educating, um, and it's just all in all good for you, especially if you are alone and you don't know which way to go. Anyway, just guys, speak to you later.